today, along with the 1981 and 1982 Grand National NASCAR Stock Car Champion Darrell Waltrip. We're taking a look at a race that was run 2 weeks ago in Richmond, Virginia. And Darrell, here you are leading it. We're not quite to the halfway point yet.
Well, the car is really running well, and of course, you know, there's some other cars back in there. You see Terry Labonte, he's a lap down at this point. And there's Rudd and Earnhardt, and I can tell you right now, there's going to be some action right along there with those two cars.
Here's another look from the rail cam. Now, you're running these straightaways, short straightaways, I might add, at about what, about 100 and little over 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, you know, we qualify at 92 miles an hour, so you got to be hitting maybe a 110 on the straightaways. It's a real hard accelerating racetrack, but you slow down a lot in the turns.
Here's Tim Richmond, got himself in trouble.
Yeah, you know, I told you to watch Tim there a little bit ago. He's a good guy to keep the camera on.
Tim Richmond from Ashland, Ohio. Tim has had some Indianapolis car experience. Here's Morgan Shepherd now. This is the car that Tim tangled with. Short car, pretty good.
You can do a lot of damage on these short tracks. Even though we're not going as fast as we do at Daytona or some of those places, there's still a lot of damage done.
A lot of cars. Here's Lenny Pond. He got in trouble. A lot of cars got in trouble along about this time, one right after another. I would imagine the racetrack gets a little slick about now.
Well, everything happens right along here. It's guy's car isn't handling well. He gets in trouble. Tempers have a tendency to flare, too. Now, there's Bill Elliott. He purely and simply had a flat tire going into that corner and gets hung up in the guardrail. But the track is getting much slicker now, and tempers are starting to flare, and guys are starting to overdrive their race cars.
After a series of incidents, it was back on the green and more racing. Darrell Waltrip up on the point, but the complexion of the race changed somewhat.
Well, like I said, after some of these caution periods, you never know who's going to come out of the pits and make the right adjustments and really get to run around the racetrack, and that's what's happening here.
All right, what's happening is that Ricky Rudd is trying to move in on Darrell Waltrip and closing quickly, and Rudd said that he would do that late in the race.
Ricky, the quarters to race here are so close. Is it difficult for a driver?
Well, this racetrack is very narrow. It's very difficult in the early stages of the race. Basically, in a starter race, it's a one-groove racetrack right on the bottom of the racetrack. It takes some 150, 200 laps into the race before the high groove of the racetrack starts getting worked in. And by that, I mean cars have to get up there and gradually inch their way to the top of the racetrack, put rubber down, and until that happens, you really don't have any racing room up there. But this is the kind of race that after the halfway point, you'll have cars on the bottom of the racetrack, and you'll have fast cars on the top of the racetrack, and everybody is really looking for a place to race.
Now there's Ricky Rudd getting by you quickly.
Yeah, I don't know how surprised he was, but it surprised me when he went by like that because we've been running so well.
Well, I have to assume at this juncture you have to say to yourself, what's happening to this race car? Do you feel it at all?
Yeah, the car was going away, but I couldn't figure out why.
Here's your teammate now, Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, I think this is an unscheduled stop for Neil. I don't know what's going on here.
Jack Arute talked to Neil Bonnet earlier.
Neil, what type of adjustments as a race driver do you have to make when you come to a short track?
I tell you, we come into a place like we're here now. We come off the big super speedways, the 150, 180 mile an hour racing, where there's a lot of caution involved, and there's not very much fender bending. We come into this place, and you know for sure that when you leave here, there's going to be some battle scars. But there's also a little bit more relaxed atmosphere. You can do things on this racetrack that you can't do on the big tracks. You can lean on a guy a little bit. You can push and shove around a little bit. It's kind of the code of the road on this particular type of racing, and in turn, the fans get to see quite a show.
Neil Bonnet attesting to the fact that you can get battle scars here at Richmond.
Yeah, there's Buddy Baker in. They're putting some racer's tape on the nose to hold him together. And here's our friend, or my friend anyway, Ricky Rudd. He's certainly moving around the racetrack nicely, isn't he?
Well, he is, and Ricky is leading the race at this juncture with about 60 laps to go, and Darrell Waltrip running back in the number 2 spot. You were quite a ways back.
Well, you know, I just couldn't put my finger on the problem with the car. Junior was talking to me on the radio, asking me what they could do to help me, and I really couldn't tell him. The car was changing from one lap to the next, and it was getting quite frustrating at this point.
So here you are, down the back straight away. Ricky Rudd pulling away from you, and as luck would have it, the yellow comes out. There's your friend, Trevor Boyes.
Trevor Boyes, I owe him a steak dinner. There's no question about that. Here we come in the pits, and this is significant because Rudd had a big lead on us, and I was able to get in the pit as quickly as he did, and you're going to see a great crew go to work here and get me out before he does. And as I told you earlier, that's the key to winning races on a short track. Get out first and stay out first.
So this is where the race is right now.
This is it. This is all the marbles on the table right here.
And you're out first now. He had to go around Bill Elliott. Did that hurt him at all?
It did. You know, having a pit down near the end of pit road with no traffic is certainly significant.
So at this juncture, you still don't know if you can get away from Ricky Rudd.
No, and I'm really concerned.
All right, let's eavesdrop on your pit area right now, see what they had to say.
But this right here is what this has been all day long. That's the first time we've seen the center build up on the right front all day.
Well, he's obviously talking about tires, Darrell.
I think so. We had a problem with the tire, and I think the young man just stepping in is telling Junior that I had a right front tire that was going down, and now Junior's calling me and telling me.
Jack Arute had been watching the pit area for the better part of the day for us, and went down and talked to Junior Johnson to see if he could get some insight on this tire situation.
Junior, it seems quite evident that tires is the story. Have you put the right combination on the car this time?
Well, we think so, Jack. With the last pit stop, we made a chassis adjustment. And when we came in and pit that time, we had a right front tire going flat. So I don't know if it got punctured on the racetrack or coming down pit road. We weren't running like we had been at the time the caution came out. So time will tell when we start back here if a tire had got punctured or not.
Back on the green now. You got to be feeling a little more confident.
Well, you know, to find out that we had a problem with the right front tire, which is very critical, and I think we've solved that problem. The car is feeling really well now, like it was earlier in the day, and time will tell here, but I think we're going to pull this one out.
All right, so Ricky Rudd stays on your back bumper for a little while, but then starts fading into oblivion.
Well, you know, it took me a lap or two to get my composure back. We worked on the car under the caution, and I was afraid that we hadn't fixed it. But as we run along here, I found out we did, and I really start to get away.
Quick question, talking about computerization getting into race cars. Is that happening in these Grand National cars at all?
Oh yeah, a lot of the cars now are equipped with fuel flow meters, which tell you how much fuel is left in your gas tank so you can get better fuel mileage. And they're using computers in the pits now to help us keep up with where we are as far as position and lap times.
Good battle in these closing laps for the number 3 position between the car number 5 of Jeff Bodine and also Dale Earnhardt out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. Here's the white flag. Got to be a big smile on your face about this time.
Man, you know, we overcame the problems that we had late in the race, and we had dominated all day, and it's just exciting when your crew does a good job, the car runs well, and you come off this fourth turn right here, sigh of big relief. Think about calling the bank at home and saying, I'll be home with the money, guys.
Darrell Waltrip picks up the checkered flags, and Darrell Waltrip and the Junior Johnson team become victorious at Richmond, Virginia, and the Richmond 400. So, Darrell Waltrip, your big winner. Taking a look now at the number 2 finishing automobile was Ricky Rudd in the car number 15.